At the beginning of last year, I dated a girl briefly. We started seeing each other right after the new year, and I ended up ending things the day before Valentine's Day last year. And on paper, nothing dramatic happened. There was no screaming fight, no betrayal, no big explosion, but something felt off. Not in the way people usually mean. I didn't think she was gonna cheat on me. I didn't necessarily know or think she was a bad person, but I didn't feel safe around her or her friends. Partially physically, in the obvious way, but I also had this constant anxiety that she might accuse me of something that I would never do, something extreme, something life altering, and that feeling never went away. Here's the part that makes that even harder. She always treated me well. She was patient, calm, kind when we were together. But somehow that all made me more suspicious because I told her up front about my doubts. I told her how I felt. And instead of her walking away like I felt like most girls would do, she stayed. She was even more patient. And part of me wondered, why? I broke up with her the day before Valentine's Day, and the following month, after 2 weeks of no talking, I offered to be her friend. I don't know why. I was just trying to figure her out. And she asked for me to go to a basketball game with her, and at that point I was like, yeah, I just can't. I can't see you one on one. I'm just not comfortable. So I was asking, why are you this tolerant of someone who openly says they're unsure about you? Do you need me to stay? Is there something I'm not seeing? Nothing concrete happened, but the unease stayed in my body, so I left. We had one final text conversation, and then she blocked me on everything. Now, fast forward to today, I'm in a happy relationship, healthy, stable, good, at least to this point. And you know how when you open up your iPhone, if you go from your home screen and scroll one to the left, at least on my widgets or whatever, it shows me old pictures. Well, it showed me a picture of me and her together, and instantly, thoughts, memories flooded my brain. And I just started thinking about, what if I misjudged her? What if I overreacted? Was I just paranoid? And that's when it hit me that this is what no closure feels like. And I've only felt that one other time in my life. When something ends cleanly because of betrayal, a fight, a clear incompatibility, your brain can just easily file it away. At least that's how it works with me. The case is closed, but whenever it ends in ambiguity, your mind keeps the tab open. My brain just, I cannot stand unfinished stories. It wants a villain, a clear mistake, a definite reason, a final conversation that explains everything, explains why I was feeling the way I was. And without that, my brain just rewrites that whole story. It romanticizes everything. It picks and chooses. It edits out the anxiety I felt the whole time. It forgets the body level discomfort that I was feeling. And suddenly, today, I'm questioning my own judgment. And here's the hard truth. Closure rarely comes from the other person. Even if you had one more conversation, even if she explained herself perfectly to me, my brain would still ask, but what if? Closure is something that you give yourself. And that's difficult because it requires trusting the version of you that made that decision. And I'm wrestling with that deeply. Right now, today, Because I was such a different person if you go back to the beginning of last year. And it's hard for me to put myself in that same mind, that same space that I was at the time. But this is the hard part that people don't talk about. That you can be happy, you can be secure, you can love your current partner, and you can still feel a pull from the past. Not because you want them back. I don't want her back. I did have fun with her and she was a really sweet girl. I guess maybe I'm even lying to myself a little bit. Like I feel like I just wish I felt safe around her. I just wish, because I feel bad because of how patient she was with me. She gave me so many chances, and maybe she actually did really like me. But there I go. There's my brain, live on air. Maybe she did really like me. Maybe she didn't have some nefarious plan to try and ruin my life. Maybe she actually gave me all those chances because she saw something. Something that I didn't see. But this is, I think, because the brain just hates unresolved tension. It's not necessarily longing, even though that's how I interpret it. It's just unfinished processing. So, what I've been working on, and what I'm trying to do in this moment, is just trust my body over my memory. Because your brain will rewrite history, but your body does not. I felt constant anxiety. I was hyper aware of everything going on. When we'd walk into her apartment, I would check all the corners in there to make sure I wasn't getting ambushed. I was always I always had like 4 different people that I knew have my location. I'd update them on what was going on just in case. I was uneasy at all times. And I do think that that matters. I don't think you need a courtroom level reason to leave something. If you feel unsafe, even subtly, that's enough. And one thing that I did after reading a little bit online is a website told me to write it down. And that's something that I think we could all apply in different parts of our life. Just write it down. Write down the reason that you did something when you do it. Write down the reason when you know you're going to question yourself in the future. If you're going to break up with a long-term girlfriend, I promise you're going to have second thoughts about that. It might not be a day after. It might not be a week after. It might not be a month after. It might be a year after. Where you're sitting there thinking, did I throw away something that was great for me? And I think it's important that we document the reasons why we did something. And so I'm partially struggling to do that right now. But I still think in putting pen to paper and thinking back and trying to piece together those moments that my brain is trying to edit out, I can put together a pretty good list of reasons why it was the right decision for me to leave that relationship at that time. It's just to remind me that the nostalgia I'm feeling right now, the lack of closure, it's not concrete. And what is the feelings that I was having. Some chapters of our life just don't tie neatly. Some people enter your life to teach you about awareness. Some people will enter for mysterious ways. I think she entered my life to push me to Christ, to push me to Christianity, to push me to religion. Because in those moments where I was freaking out and I feel like I needed something to hold on to, I turned to church, and that changed my life forever. So I think that she was a gift from God to bring me closer to Him, to finally convince me to take that step. But it still hurts thinking about how I could have been wrong and maybe it was a right person, wrong time type of deal. But that's a bad way to think. So I need to stop doing things like looking at old photos. I need to clear out my phone of certain things. I have way too many old photos of different times of my life. Got to stop replaying conversations in my head. Got to stop imagining imaginary timelines. I'm bad about that in general. I'll make a person out to be something that they weren't. I'll imagine our future together before it happens. I'll romanticize everything about a current relationship, about a past relationship. I'll make every girl out to be the one if I don't stop myself. So, one thing I guess I'm dealing with is that moving on without closure, it forces you to mature. It forces you to say, I may never know everything, and that's okay. And you don't need proof that something would have gone wrong. You don't need to know that it wasn't for you. You just need to know that it didn't feel right at the time. And that's enough. So seeing that picture didn't mean I missed her. It meant that I never fully processed the ambiguity. And that's human. And I know that. And what else I know is that peace isn't found in perfect explanations. It's found in trusting your past self's explanations. Trusting your past self's decision. Because you weren't an idiot. I wasn't an idiot a year ago. I might have been in a really different headspace. I might have been not as trustworthy as I am today, as trusting. I might have been leaning on my own understanding in all facets of life. But I know that no other person I've met has made me feel the way that she did. Not one. And that's enough. Some doors are going to close loudly. Some are going to close quietly. But if you walked away because it didn't feel right, you don't need a trial transcript. You just need self-trust. And as hard as it is, sometimes that's the only closure you get. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.